Hello and welcome everyone to a new episode of Walking the Talk. My name is Melissa and today I have a new fantastic guest here with me. His name is Manuel Eppert. He's co-founder and managing partner at Alvicus, a Swiss company. Hello, Manuel.
Hello. Hi, Melissa. Nice to meet you. And thank you
Nice.
for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm very excited and very happy to have you. And of course, I prepared a game for you to get started and warm up a little bit.
Okay.
So I have a set of random questions that actually have pretty much nothing to do with our topic today, but they're fun. So if you're ready, we can get to it.
Yeah, let's give it a try.
Okay. Question number 1. Are you a morning or a night person?
I would say a night person, but I love to get up early in the morning. So when it's quiet and you can go to the office or go out and there is really no one outside. I love that.
Nice. Question number 2. What is your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show. I did an apprenticeship as a multimedia technician. So this means I watched millions of hours of TV. So I'm not into TV that anymore, but I would say if it's something connected with where I can learn, then it's totally fine. But I don't really look regularly or series, something like Netflix. Nah, no,
Fair point.
there is nothing. No.
Question number 3. How long does it take you to get ready in the morning?
This depends. I would say between 30 minutes to 1 hour. Depends if I have to get my long hairs ready and if there is no this bad hair day, as most people know.
Question number 4. What is the strangest thing you have ever eaten?
Yeah, I was in China many times, so I tried the chicken feet and
I had
all
them
these
too.
other. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not something to eat. It's just like try to get the meat from the bone. Yeah, I would say that's the strangest one. Yeah.
Question number 5. Do you have a pet?
No, I don't have a pet because we live in a flat in the city, and I think it's not that nice for the pet to be in the flat when we are not at home. But I'm the cats person, so I had a cat in the
Oh,
past.
nice.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay.
Question number 6. If you didn't have to sleep, what would you be doing with that extra time?
Yeah, I can't say now work. No, not working. No, I would love to do more sports, more exercise. Of course, more just things which I can learn something, spend time with my friends, with my family. Yeah, if they also don't need to sleep, then would work.
And question number 7. How would your friends describe you in 3 words?
In 3 words,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm the caring one, also a little bit of complicated, and what's the third one? Yeah, proactive, and
Nice.
just there is always something to do with me.
And final question, if you could go to space, explore the ocean, or visit 50 different countries, which one would it be and why?
I would say it's the ocean because countries, even though there are 50 countries, some of them are quite similar, but the ocean is so undiscovered yet. And yeah, I love to be also at the ocean. So there is definitely the place to be.
Me too. I love that one as well. Nice. I think we warmed up a little bit, and those were great questions. And I actually managed to close my book on the wrong page just now, but I'm sure I can find it. So let's move on to you and Alvicus. Do you want to introduce yourself maybe a little bit and also say a few words about what is Alvicus? What do you do?
I have to go really far back to where it all started. Maybe I have to start there where my motivation to do something or to create something new is always when it comes to there are new areas to explore. And as I already mentioned before, I did an apprenticeship as a multimedia technician. I fixed television and radios in the past, and from there, then the journey began. And through business IT bachelor's, banking software implementation, masters in finance, I came to now this position where I am now. This is my own consulting company, which I have together with my business partner Desiree, and we just created this new thing to really implement or do what we like to do, and this is helping companies to grow in different areas, to support the entrepreneurs when they struggle with their daily task, and that's where we came from, and that's why Alvicus was founded.
I think that's a really interesting approach that you're taking. But the first thing that really comes to my mind is most of the time these startups actually don't really have a lot of capital available in the beginning. Mm-hmm. So how does this work? How are you able to help these startups and build a good company yourself, even though these startups are usually very cash constrained? How does that work?
Yeah, we have 3 different kind of services we offer with Alvicus, and one of the services is the consulting. The second one is we do also investments in these companies, and the third one, that's we do some mentoring when the founder or the CEO or whoever in the company struggles, then we support them with our mentoring. Regarding your questions, we have different kind of clients. I try to always to imagine it as a pyramid, which is upside down. So at the very bottom, there is this ideation phase. So you and me, we have this brilliant idea to create a new company. Not the company itself, maybe have just a new product idea. And for these kind of companies, we just help them when they come by. Let's have a coffee. They haven't even founded a company yet. They just have this ideation phase. And for these people, we are the person to meet, to discuss. Then we try to not to be too narrow-minded, because we may see all these gray clouds coming up at someone in the future. But we just want to be a partner for them, that they have the opportunity or the possibility to talk to someone which has done this before. The second stage then is when this idea becomes a little bit more serious, and the startup or the founder or the founders, the team, plans to really, let's register the company, let's buy the URL for this new brand, do some investments, take their own money. And for sure, as you correctly said, they don't even have the money at the beginning, or don't want to spend the money for consulting services. But also there, depending on the product, if it fits to our own industry. So we mainly focus on automotive and financial services as a main target. There is always a possibility that we invest in these companies too. And invest means we do not just give them money, because money helps, but money is not the success, the key success fact. To become a company. We also support them with our knowledge, and there is different possibilities. Like we consult them and we get partial of their company. We also invest our own money into these companies and also support them. So it's equity, work for equity, investment. It's a combination which can have many different ways with the implementation. And this is a really good start for a small company, but we're not going to take like 20% of your company, because you cannot just afford a consultant. So we never go up above 5%, because for us it's important that we can accelerate these people with their idea. We bring them to a stage where they then go into a seed round, into a bridge round, into a Series A, and then maybe at a certain point we may step out if it's not needed that we are there anymore. And the key factor on this one is that we don't want to create a company which is unfundable, so that the financial structure becomes so complicated that the next investor, whatever of investor this is, it's like, ooh, what's this consulting company? What is this person there? What are they doing on the shareholder table? That's something we really exactly. Yeah, then it's ruined. Then you can't bring the company into a proper structure anymore. So, and from there, the pyramid then becomes even larger and larger. So the next step is we also take mandates for companies. We just do project management, and then there is even more larger companies where you just take a task. And with all these different kind of mandate types, we are able to also support the smaller ones.
I think you have a very interesting approach because it's very hands-on. You really go inside of the company rather than just sitting outside of it and telling them from afar, here, this is what you need to do, but really you try to go in. Why is that? Why do you think that this approach is the best way to help these startups?
Yeah, if as a founder with an idea, you don't think about, okay, how should I do marketing? How should I do HR? How to manage my accountings? So you're extremely focused on your product, and that's the most important thing. So if you start a company and the first thing you need is to talk to a lawyer to make everything is fine, then the whole spirit is somehow gone. And with our approach, we may go to a company and say, hey, you need to do some communication because otherwise no one is gonna reckon your product. And then they say, yeah, but then I need to hire the marketing manager, which costs me $150,000 a year, which is just impossible. And for such a case, we say, okay, maybe try to find an intern, try to find someone which is a junior person, and then we support you with the required experience, and then we train not the entrepreneur itself, we train then his employee. So the whole knowledge stays or is not in our company, because at the later stage we may step out, and then if we would have the whole service in our book, then the company is at the same problem as when they started. So the knowledge just flows out within, okay, contract is finished. And so we really try to be the one which takes the owner and also his future employees at his hand or at their hand, in order to keep the knowledge inside. And this also helps us to not use all the resources we have just for one client. We can also support then the client in many different areas. Is it like communication or marketing or finance, or also with our large network we have, when someone needs IT development, we have preferred suppliers in our network, and so on and so forth. So we just do what we know, and we will never sell something we are not confident that this adds value to our client.
Mm. Speaking of adding value, most of the time consultants are, well, they fall in one of two categories. Either they're the cost cutters and people don't like them most of the time because they know that if they come around, then it means that people have to go and have to leave the company. But then there's also the other side, and that's where you fall into. There's the people that try to work in a value enhancing way. And from our previous conversation last week, you told me that you really take a future-oriented approach. You focus on the next generation, on female buying power, essentially. Can you elaborate a little bit more on why do you do that, and how does that add value to these companies?
Yeah, for sure. So our main approach or our main selling USP is we help companies with growth strategies, or you can also say it's a segmentation or segment strategy. So let's start where it came from. So my background, as you heard before, is a little bit more like technical, a little bit more working with people which are very focused on their expertise. So this could be, or this was in the past, these were lawyers, IT people, compliance, regulatory people, and so on and so forth. So what we learned there is, with our knowledge, with our people understanding, we are the so-called decoders. So we were able to talk to the lawyers, then we bring this option to the business, and then we went to IT and helped them to implement a new solution which came from the regulation. So these were in the past kind of projects we managed. On the other side, my business partner Desiree, she has a huge background and experience in the segmentation strategy discussions. So it means she implemented with large corporations next generation topics. So they try to update or enhance and increase the female clients' processes. Means if a salesperson or the front office, the front of the front person gets into a situation that a female client or a future female client entering the door, the shop, or whatever it is, then there were a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of non-sales. And this is just because of different gender, and there is different biases which exist, and so on and so forth. And when Desiree and I decided to found Alvicus, we said, okay, we need to find this niche. And the niche is not being another consulting company which implements a regulation into another corporation. This is just, there is a way too large competition in the market. And then we said, okay, let's combine our interest, our understanding of the market and for the client itself into a new service. And that's why we came up with, hey, let's help companies when they struggle with growth. And growth can be, there's so many different areas where you can support on growth. You can cut costs, as you mentioned.
Sure.
Then you may have more money for doing more marketing, or you can do it the other way around. You can try to adjust a little bit your product, your sales process, also train your salespeople in order that they can better understand how they need to approach their clients. And there is many numbers about how the future customer will look like. So they become much younger, they have more buying power. Also, the gender topic is extremely large because women, they will have more money in the future because of many different reasons. So they live longer, as we know. They also have the same education. So it means they will also get into a position where they earn the same as men does. A further point is that they may not stay at home if they become a mother, because they will share the role of the parents. And there is so many different things why we need to consider the younger ones, so the young ones, and the women as a customer segment with a huge potential to buy products. And that's why you need to consider them. And it's not about something, okay, it's about female or next gen. It's a segmentation strategy. And this is the one with the largest potential at the moment.
I think this is amazing. And you're actually the first company that I talked to that has this very clear approach regarding the future. And I think that's very unique. And it's clear to me that this can help these startups that you advise, that they can improve their product. But can you elaborate a little bit more on how this approach can really, let you stand out, let your company stand out from others as well?
Yes, what we do is, when you usually talk to consulting companies which take care of these gender and next generation topics, then they go to HR. And that's really not offending against this approach. This is an approach which completely works, but it takes more time. And this approach we follow is, I call it front to end, because at the front you sell the products. And I also call it as a revenue approach, because you already see within a couple of changes that you increase or decrease your revenue. And if your revenue increases, so you get a little bit more just with doing the same, just selling it a little bit different, then the consequence is, okay, you did something at the front, you have more money, and then you go into the company. So it means you then adjust maybe the product, you adjust your marketing material. And with this with this step-by-step culture change, at some point you also end up in the management and also in HR. And when it comes to these topics, then we are out, because we're not the HR experts. We really focus on the client side. And I would say that's the main difference between traditional consulting companies, which for sure has also an importance when the company is extremely large. I mean, this approach, we are consulting, this doesn't work for an international company with 20, 50,000 employees. This is just too complex, because there you may have to go the other way around. But also this advices we gave to them, there can be implemented much faster with the smaller ones. And this also helps the startup. So a startup, of course, if it's a B2B, also there is the buyer can be a woman or someone with the next generation. At the end, it's always person-to-person sales which exists. So it doesn't matter what kind of product you have to sell it as it is understood.
I'm curious. I mean, obviously, you're a man. So if you come along and try to explain to someone how to sell to women, do people ever give you, I don't know, a look, or are they confused about how you're the right guy to sell to women?
It's interesting. Usually, it starts different because when I sell our service, people are even more open and listen to me compared to when Desiree is selling that. Because when a woman talks about women topics, then I don't know if I can say this here, but then it's like, oh yeah, it's another woman which talks about women things.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but as a man, I would say it's sometimes much easier just to talk about these topics. And if a man talks to a man about this topic, then they get even more curious about, oh, okay, if this guy is talking about that, then there might be something really which helps us as a client. And therefore, of course, there is always the person which says, we don't need that. And no, I know it much better. That's okay. And at the end, the service or the consulting we are doing with this respective client is anyway tailored to his needs. So it will not be only me which then tells them, hey, this is how you need to change your process. And sometimes, or mostly, it already starts when you just talk about the topic. So I think the best example is always if you and your husband or your boyfriend walk into a car dealer shop, and the salesperson just focus on your partner, and you may are the one with the money, or you're the one with the decision, and you may become parents soon, then the decision will not be just on him, it will be on both of you. And therefore, if the salesperson completely understand that there might be just a little bit of a different communication needed, then the solution is already there without doing any consulting. And the same problem exists also in financial industry, because as you can imagine, it's everywhere where we have complex products, where in the past there was just a one-to-one communication between the clients or the customer person and the client itself. And now it's changing because of the facts I just mentioned before.
I find that really interesting that you said that when you talk to another man about it, that might actually be an even more open communication than if a woman did that. I find that fascinating. But yeah, it's true. It's very true. I would like to explore a little bit more how you came to this position in the first place. So you created your own company. You told me deliberately in the past, well, you're not a startup yourself. You're a company, maybe a small, young company, but not a startup. But I wonder, in the past, was that something that you always wanted to do? Did you know you wanted to build your own company one day, or was there just the opportunity and you grabbed it? How did that happen?
Yeah, it came a little bit not by accident, but as I said, I did my master's degree quite much later than the usual students does it. So I was already plus 30 when I decided to take a sabbatical and do my master's degree abroad. I was in Australia. And after that, I founded my first company together with my former business partner, where we did some goods trading from Asia. Then I came back to Switzerland, and for some reason I then jumped or moved back into consulting. And beside that, I still had my tiny little shop. After that, for me, it was clear, okay, I can't be that flexible as I want to be in my consulting environment. But I always want to stay there because that's where I have my experience. So I'm doing this since I can remember that I support people when it comes to complex topics. And after that, I decided to quit my consulting job. After that, I had the opportunity to take up some mandates in different roles. And then together with Desiree, we decided, okay, she was self-employed, I was self-employed. Let's do it together, because you cannot grow as a single person. So you need to do this together, because then you can really benefit from the resources which are available. And also brand wise, it just makes more sense to be one brand where then people can work under this brand. And that's how the Alvicus baby was born. I wouldn't say by accident. It was, for me, it was somehow not clear, but I wanted to become self-employed. And yeah, you give yourself a timeline, but this timeline is anyway a little bit of useless, because since you're working on an everyday base, the timeline you anyway going to reach this somehow. Or you decide, okay, let's maybe shift a little bit in one or the other direction. And yeah, finally we decided to found Alvicus.
I can tell that you truly enjoy what you're doing. Is my impression correct?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I don't really have to tell someone or report someone what I'm doing. I mean, of course, there is long days and short weekends, but that's okay. I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm working. I'm just doing my. I'd like to share my knowledge with people, so to create something new, and that's why you definitely see that this makes fun. This makes a lot of fun. Yes.
I think this is amazing. And I've heard that from several people who said, people who have their own companies, they all said, well, first of all, they're ruined for the job market. And second off, they wouldn't want to change a thing about it. They're so happy with it.
Yeah, that's totally true. Yeah, that's for sure. Because I think if at a certain point in the future, we're not going to do this anymore, I think we'll do something new. But going back to the corporate, this, I think, for the employer as well, we will be the super tough employees. Don't know if we even made for being back in this culture, and also political discussions we have. So being external is something super nice.
You said earlier that you would summarize what you're doing for these startups as growth strategies. And if we link that to your company, so obviously scaling a consulting business is a very difficult task, because obviously you're very much limited by literally, well, you as a person, at least if you start off as yourself, you cannot, split yourselves in halves and work on two projects at the same time. So you're limited in that sense. But so how do you grow as a consulting business, essentially? What is your focus there yourself?
Yeah, that's right. So as a consulting company, you have your hourly or daily rate, and that's a limitation. That's why we not invented, but that's why we do also the investment. So we pick companies which completely fit to our portfolio, to our culture, people or entrepreneurs within these companies. They need to fit to our character, and these are our business partners. So having or making Alvicus larger and larger in the future means we will invest in more companies, which then requires more employees on our side to support these companies with the required service. And we take some portions of these companies at a certain stage. And this is basically our scalability, or the way to scale our own company. Of course, there's always risk, because if you invest money in companies which are just startups, there is no guarantee. I mean, usually what they say, 1 out of 10 becomes successful, and the other 9 you have to write off. And that's something we want to avoid. And we avoid this, or at least we try to avoid this, and we'll manage to avoid this by having active roles within these companies. So just giving money to someone is okay, and that's also a business model. But the way we do it, we still have a little bit of control or the possibility to adjust this. And maybe to add on that, there is not only us giving money or raising money for these companies. We also have a large network of people with money. These are like individuals or investment companies, family offices. And when it comes to larger investments, then we do a collaboration together with them. So it means then we are the one with do consulting. We also somehow a little bit audit what's happening within the company, but the money itself then comes from somewhere else. So it's also a combination of that. So the source of money is not always our own money. It can also be coming from somewhere else. If the entrepreneur, the owner, doesn't want to have the one-stop shop by Alvicus. And that's totally fine. So that's not something which is this is a supportive or a collaborative approach to help them.
Mm. In the past, whenever I heard from early stage startups that they had some sort of angel investor or just early stage investors, and most of the time they were more active than just handing them money and saying, okay, bye, see you in half a year. But they were not as active as you're describing it either. So they were there when needed, but they provided advice. So they were more on this kind of level. They were not hands-on. But your approach, in contrast to that, sounds unconventional, not in a bad way. I think it's a very interesting way. But how do the startup founders that you've been talking to so far, how do they perceive it? Are they surprised about your proposal to do it like this? Or are they very open or not open at all? What's your experience?
Let's say it like this. They need such kind of service we offer. And of course, you can now go with the very high rates and they just gonna pay it. But on the other side, they some kind taking the bitter pill. And that's what we also want to avoid. Because if you have a client which is on every minute, he's like, does it really need to be done by you? Can we have it cheaper? Can someone else? This is not going to work because then the whole relationship is poisoned. And that's why this approach is for some extremely interesting. For others, it's not going to work. That's fine. And it also depends on the stage of a company, if they just have been founded. What we usually don't do investments in just founded companies. Usually they already have a bit of a track record, means a history. They may struggle. They went to the deep desert and so on and so forth. There are different stages or different situations or things must have happened in the past that the company fits to our approach. So I wouldn't say the other one is we are better than the other one. It's just like, I always say it's like dating. When you meet someone in business, you need to get to know each other. Then you talk about topics. You need to like each other, and then you somehow start building up this relationship. And if you believe that this relationship is prosperous for both, not only for us to have a new client, also for the startup to have the required knowledge in their company, then there is a way to find a solution with this partnership. So therefore, yes, is a different approach to do that. I heard it from single entrepreneurs or single consultants which are doing this, but also a lot of entrepreneurs or CEOs told us, that's not the consulting companies, then we have to give them some shares, and then we don't get what we expect. So of course, you need to start at a small project. Maybe the client pays for it. And if both parties are happy, then you still can give a kickback on that, what they already paid. So it's their idea. They need to take the risk somehow. We just can not reduce the risk by being a party or being a partner for them.
I think this is a very interesting approach, and I also can see why this or how this can help startups, especially like I said in the beginning, since they are so cash constrained in the beginning, that this can actually be a very interesting arrangement to make this work. I would like to make a little topic jump to another topic that you told me about, which I find very interesting, because you told me also that you did some advisory work for a startup in Africa, for a social enterprise actually. And I would like to hear more about why did you get involved with the project, and how do you derive value from this kind of work yourself?
So the story is, it started, I would say, 4 or 5 years ago. It was the time when I came back from Australia for my sabbatical. And a good friend of mine, John Morco, he was at that time in Africa, in Kenya. He did his, I think it was his certificate of advanced studies, something like this, was it? Which he took in Kenya. And then he came back to Zurich. I know him since, I don't know, 15 or 20 years here.
Wow.
Then he came back to Zurich and said, hey, I'm doing this project there. We try to help youths from the slums to build their own business. And I said, okay, sounds interesting. But I mean, I haven't been there. And even though I supported them and advised them, I haven't had the chance to go there for different reasons. But still, I really want to do that. But we did a lot of online meetings with him and the team. And that's where it started. I was like, okay, how can I help you? I mean, you're doing this so far away. We are in the same time zone. How can we support you? And then basically, he's the people's person. So he's thinking, okay, how can we create a new business in this environment? And he's the one which is testing. So he will never register a company, create a website before he have even tested the business he wants to do. And that's why he did a lot of testing. He was talking to people, to potential clients, and so on and so forth. But he's not the one which is, he just doesn't want to set up a software to do bookings or create a website, all these back office tasks. He's just not the one where he has his superpowers. And that's where I jumped in. So I said, okay, I'm going to help you. We then implemented a couple of softwares. And then also did the bookings for them together with the accountant in Nairobi. And so his baby then became alive or was born, and then grew and grew. The business itself, it's a downtown tour in Nairobi. So means you as a tourist, you can book this tour, and then you will be guided by local guides, which guides you around in the downtown. So it's not a slum tour. So we are not going and visit the slums where these people live. You really you have a look at downtown Nairobi, where all the markets are, where all the bustling places or things happen. And that's where they do this tour. So it's a walking tour. You meet the guides. You walk around 3 hours. You have the chance to take some or eat some local food. You always have 3 to 4 guides with you, and then you just walk around and talk to them, and they tell you their life story, what happened when they were kids, when they grew up, and all these interesting, sad, for us shocking stories. And now they already since before Corona, they were already number 1 tour on Airbnb.
Wow.
So it's growing and growing.
Wow. And what did you see in that project that made you want to help them so much, even though it's, like you said, it's so far away? Technically, you have nothing really to do with that. And so you still said you really want to do this. What did you see in that project? Why did you want to do that?
It didn't really took me that much time to support them with my knowledge, and that's why I said, okay. I mean, he it's really his passion, so it doesn't cost me anything. It's my time, my experience, which is already here, so I just can distribute it. And to be honest, it's also an important topic to explain to potential or new clients, or also to learn how fast you can test something and then implement it. Imagine a little bit more than a year ago, Corona came also to Kenya. So then we said, okay, your business is a tourist business. So from 100 to 0 within a couple of days. So what are you going to do next? Okay, we invented the virtual tours. Okay, how to do virtual tours? Okay, you need to have mobile phones. You need to buy gigabytes so you can have the Skype tour. We bought some selfie sticks, and then we did a trial. We tested on Zoom, we tested on Skype, we tested here and there. And with this quick testing, shifting, we were able to create a complete new income source for these people. We had to adjust it with the homepage. A new banner needed to be there where you can buy or order an online tour, but that's pretty much it. So that the whole effort was so small, but we created a complete new business, which is working perfectly fine. And now we were able to have the superstars from Hollywood doing a virtual tour with the guides. They became super famous on Instagram. So just by testing, and that's what I have learned from this project. You don't need to have the fancy, crazy website. If it's not working, it's okay, but try it with a flyer which you may draw by hand, and go around and ask, do you understand what this flyer means? And if people do like, no, then okay, what would you expect if you read this or that? And then immediately you have created a complete new business. So you can start a business tomorrow without having a real business, but by just asking people. So I think the biggest outcome, or the largest outcome I had from this, is testing, then adjusting, testing again, and ask your clients. Don't think you know it. The market tells you what they really need.
I think that's a very important lesson, and also something that even I myself I have to admit, I'm guilty of that as well. I don't know, for some reason, it's so deeply rooted, this idea that, of course, you know what's going to work and what's not going to work, when you actually never talk to anybody who might be the one buying your product or listening to your podcast, and for some reason, it's quite, I don't know, at least personally, I found it quite challenging in the beginning to get over that hurdle and actually talk to some people who I think might be interested in what I'm offering. I don't know why that is, but it's a hurdle.
But that's something neutral. That's something neutral. This it's also a cultural thing. Being from Central Europe, it's way too secure here to need to be an entrepreneur. So we just need to make sure, okay, all insurances are in place, tick. All the brand needs to be registered, tick, and so on and so forth. But that's really, I mean, to be honest, whatever brand name you have as a startup, it's completely, it just doesn't have any impact on your business. You can change your name tomorrow because maybe 10 people say, oh, you did a name change. Oh, interesting. Why? And that's okay. So don't think about things which are so unimportant. Just watch or look at the really large corporations which changed their name. We can't even remember the names before. There were some companies with toilet paper and stuff like that to change it. Of course, if you change Coca-Cola, it's something different. But even there, I'm sure it would work too. Yeah.
We are already approaching the end of the session. The time went by so fast again. It's insane. But I still have one final question for you. You already shared so many great tips and pieces of advice, but do you still have anything else that you would like to pass on to other aspiring entrepreneurs, founders, something they should know or take away from today?
Oh, where should I start? I think if you have an idea, and of course you have to share it and listen to other people's opinion and on their feedback, but if you really think it's worth to change your entire daily life, then go for it. Of course, there's possibilities to do a little partial work. You still have some income. You can write a business plan, but also business plan, you just need to go out and test it. But it's important, try to find partners and partners in terms of advisors. So talk to people. That's one of the most important things. And also when it comes to starting your business, focus on the core. So don't do accounting or web development if you're not a web developer, if you are doing something completely different, because this just reduces your focus. And reducing your focus means you cannot grow as you may have planned on the Excel sheet. So that's what what I would advise, or what I'm advising to everyone which is in the ideation phase and comes by to our office and have a coffee with us. That's what I'm sharing for free. So there's a lot of things I'm share for free. I share knowledge for free at all. It's just that's then the execution then may need some help from us.
Amazing. I think that's wonderful. And I sure hope to take you up on that invitation to come by when I'm in Switzerland. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for your advice. If anybody wants to connect with you or reach out, learn more about Alvicus, how can they do that?
So the best way is to LinkedIn. Just connect on LinkedIn with me. with my personal profile, and also follow us on Alvicus. We share a lot of knowledge, experience, funny stories on our channels. We use for this mainly LinkedIn. We also have a blog on our website where a lot of things I have talked about today is available in written, so about testing, about talk to partners, and so on and so forth. So our website is a good place to get this knowledge. And as I said, LinkedIn, that's the other one.
Nice. I will make sure to put all the relevant links in the description box again. And that's it for today. Manuel, thank you so very much for your openness, for being here today. This was amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time for me.
Thank you very much, Melissa, for this opportunity. And I'm happy to welcome you whenever you're in Zurich to our place, and we have a coffee and talk
Amazing.
about many other new things which came up in the meantime.
Yes, let's do it. Awesome. Thank you also everyone who was watching today. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I see you all next time. Bye.